기자부대, hop on the beat!
Welcome back to another JoJo chapter review. This time we're taking a look at chapter 24 of the JOJOLands titled Dolphin Bank's Debt Collection Part 3. Last time we learned the backstory of the Howler Corporation and their relationship with the Lava Rock and saw the beginning of the plan to collect Acca Howler's debt, leading to Acca nearly discovering the group's Lava Rock. This month we pick up right where we left off with the Lava Rock beginning to crumble due to the large amount of money in the room. Acca continues holding the group at gunpoint to try and find the rock and ends up shooting holes in the wall. He gets more and more erratic, even turning his gun on Key West and his employees. Acca realizes that all of the recent movements of money have to be due to the rock. He orders Dragona to lie down in the money to see if the rock reacts to it. Jodio tells Charming Man to distract Acca by telling him that Dragona isn't a woman, while Dragona secretly uses smooth operators to alter the money, making it counterfeit so it no longer reacts to the rock. Acca just goes on calling Dragona a woman anyway and finds the lava rock missing since we see Jodio is actually holding it. Key West informs Acca that police and fireboats have surrounded the yacht, with Acca's bullets having set off a fire earlier. Now the group manages to turn the tables, with Jodio telling Acca that the state government will use this as an excuse to board the boat and begin the land seizure. They continue to pressure him to sign the documents while Key West protests. Now we shift perspective back to Paco and Usagi, who have just arrived at the school to find Meryl May. We finally get a flashback to Paco's childhood. We learn that he was raised by a single father who was an abusive drunk, and that despite that, Paco loved him. We see that Paco's stand ability developed as part of his abuse, with his muscles toughening up to keep him from being hit. Paco used his ability to act as a thief, stealing from purses and then duplicating seals with his hand to cash phony checks. He started only cashing small amounts, but after he got above 10,000, he was caught. Paco's father has apparently gotten into a fight while drunk and killed a man, and the lawyer would cost $30,000. His father passed out drunk on the road, and when he woke up, a man had been stabbed with a knife with his fingerprints. Paco began looking towards the local mafia for them to lend him money. Meryl May warns him that the mafia are the ones behind the stabbing and that Paco would just be used by them. She gives him her card and leaves, with Paco later joining her and finishing school. Back in the present, a security guard tells them that Meryl May just stepped out with some police. Inside her office, Paco and Usagi find Meryl's severed fingers, showing that she was taken by the enemy stand users. This was another really great chapter. The tension really shot up this month, and I loved the way the interrogation was handled, with a really smart use of Dragona's ability and the team perfectly gaining the upper hand on Acca. This was a real highlight for Jodio, who was the one to come up with the plan and directly put doubt in Acca's mind about the land seizure. We also got our first look at Paco's story, which I think was another great moment. I think the depiction of Paco's abusive relationship was actually quite realistic, and I also really enjoyed the creative use of his stand as part of his scam. The chapter ends off with Meryl having disappeared, implied to have been apprehended by Lam Shaban and Ningbo. We see that Meryl left the boutique business card on the ground, which I think is a clue meant to tell Paco and Usagi that she's heading there. I think this definitely means that Lulu is going to play a role, since getting her back is one of the Howler agents' main goals. If you're on Twitter at all, one of the main topics of discussion with the chapter right now is, as always, related to Dragona and their gender identity. Many have said that because of what happened in this chapter, it's a confirmation that Dragona is not transgender. Now really, I think this whole thing is pretty unwarranted, since if you've been paying attention so far, nothing has actually changed about how this topic is presented. Now, some have argued that there is a mistranslation at work here, but this is simply not true. In the original Japanese, Jodio says that Dragona is not a woman, with Charming Man then saying that Dragona is a man. Like I said, however, this doesn't actually change anything about the situation. In the story so far, Jodio has already referred to Dragona as his brother. And just like I've argued many times before, Dragona has yet to say anything in relation to their gender or how they present themselves. So just having Jodio repeat what he's already said and then Charming Man repeating him does not add any new information. With the amount of attention that has been drawn to Dragona's gender in their backstory and throughout the course of the chapters, I fully expect it to come up again, since it's clearly an important part of the character. And until Dragona themselves says something about it, we simply don't know what that answer is. As I've said before, I believe Dragona may be a trans woman rather than simply gender non-conforming, if we take into account the extent of Dragona's cosmetic alterations. On the other hand, I've brought up before that Dragona could also be Araki following up on his original idea for Anasui's character in Part 6, which was to make a character beyond the concept of gender. Which way that'll end up going is unknown at this point, so I simply see no need to react to this chapter in any kind of extreme way. In other news, the manga will actually be on hiatus next month and will return in May. In the meantime, April is going to be a huge month for the series. As I've already gone over, the JoJo Day event will be held on April 12th, promoting the JoJo anime. It was said that the event will celebrate the past and future of the JoJo anime series. I think it's all but confirmed here that we'll see the announcement of the Steel Ball Run anime. I think it may just end up being a small teaser like we saw for Part 6 initially. The Part 6 anime was also announced in April and later released in December, so we may expect a similar schedule this time around. During the hiatus next month, we'll also be seeing the release of a new Thus Spoke Kishibe Rohan chapter titled Episode 12 Bruschetta. The chapter will be published in Ultra Jump and will be 51 pages long. In May, we have even more with the third volume of Thus Spoke Kishibe Rohan releasing in Japan, which will contain the newest chapters. There will also be a special book releasing titled Rohan Kishibe Jump. This will be a weekly Shonen Jump-sized book compiling all of the Rohan chapters that have been adapted in the TV drama, including the short story Kushagara. May is also when we'll see the release of the At a Confessional movie in Japanese theaters. Finally, we have confirmation of the 5th issue of the JoJo magazine, which will release on May 23rd. This time, the theme of the magazine seems to be Rohan, with it containing behind-the-scenes info in the confessional film as well as a new Rohan short story. The issue will also contain a detailed look at the recent talk Araki gave at the Osamu Tezuka Manga Museum this month. That's about everything I've got to talk about today. The next 2 months are going to be a big moment for the JoJo series, and I'm very much looking forward to all the new Rohan stuff. I've actually been planning my next big video which goes through and ranks all of the Rohan chapters, but that'll have to be delayed to include the new one as well. I'll also be sure to cover anything new that's announced at JoJo Day, so keep up with the channel to stay informed on any possible news. To stay updated on future videos, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. You can also join the Hum and Beat Discord to be notified on any new uploads, chapter releases, and important JoJo news. Finally, I'd appreciate it if you help support the channel on Patreon or by becoming a YouTube member. Supporters can submit questions in the Patreon community chat or the members-only community posts, which I answer at the end of my main videos. Thank you for watching. This is the part of the video where I thank my $5 and up patrons. Thank you to Doorbell, Crayon, Rigovids, Zucato, Pumpkin Doge, Marrow, Sponge Cake, Cakext, Feliciano Rabaja, Rayana Meme, Christian McDonough, Emmanuel Etienne, Pulse Dog, Zach Greenfield, FIFO, Rob Goliath, Jacob Smith, Big T, Gold, Red Hot Mayonnaise, Zenkai, Royal Slush, Keenan, Perry, John Braun, Cho Henshin, Saint Bobo, Max Verstappen, Kira Not Yoshikage, John Garcia, and Crank and Plank.